runs good events. But it's kind of a small site. That's what concerns me. It's you know, if it were a big farm situation, it's a lot easier to stretch out and kind of cover your stuff. And Rosendale's a dinky little town. Now, that's just, if everything that you do in your application fits and complies, then, you know, we'll have to figure out how we deal with the debauchery part.
Thank you.
But,
I mean, we would love to do it for 3,000, but we know the site is limited, and it's our first, year in the area really officially doing an event.
How many did you have in Georgia?
About 900, and there was no problems. We had the security tell one guy he had to go to sleep and leave the next day because he groped a woman. That was like as bad as it got. I mean, that's not
Well,
at all.
we had 2 heroin overdose issues at that location in the past from events that weren't monitored properly, and it's a concern that we have to be overly cautious. Chief Soul, could you give us a little feedback, what you think, and what kind of things need to be looked into?
I just have more questions, and I've been waiting for the board's actions so I could get my team together, which would consist of Ulster County Emergency Management, the state police, and the sheriffs, depending on how many people come to the festival. So obviously I need to get into the effect of there's 14 up to our team of 14 professional security, just training, certification, just all the specifics on that. Hours of service, or how long the bands are going to play, I need that narrowed down because early evening, I need time.
We have a noise ordinance on the books.
Because, and that's one of the big issues that we deal with is the noise. Obviously, hours of serving alcohol, because I think there's going to be a beer tent, correct? How you're going to ID people, how you're going to have, make sure that we're identifying who's under 21 and who's,
We mentioned that.
just to have all of those things. And how long before you will cancel or go forward, of how long before will we know how many attendings? And are you capping it at so many, or you're just going to leave it open to?
Capping it based on whatever the requirements are, whatever
We're
the
going to sell tickets
recommendations.
that have them available at the door.
Yeah, and do we know how much a ticket will be yet?
Not yet. We're still figuring out our costs.
Okay.
I mean, I
Yeah.
saw something like on a previous event, it was $125. Does that sound about?
Yeah, I think that's what
about
we're
the-
doing.
Is that the close to what you charge per
It would be
person?
around there.
And
That's
then
3 days, a standard music
Mhm.
festival,
Right.
but that's cheap.
That's
It
all
is.
cheap, yeah.
Really cheap.
Well, then you should have a good budget to make it nice and safe.
What's that?
Then you should have a great budget to make it nice and safe. As I'm
Right.
sure Robin and Stephen are not charging you tons and tons, but
Well,
reasonable
that too.
business people.
Yeah, that's
Right.
business.
No, and again, I don't, again, I'm not against, as I just want to make sure things are right. So as long as we go, whatever the town's actions are, we still need to get together, meet with, I want to meet with the head of your security staff. If that's one of you, that's fine, but I want to make sure that you have the credentials to be the head of the security staff.
Sure.
That we're going to go over that. And also, I'll need to have the head of your medical part of the meeting, that when we meet with the county coordinator, because that's more important to say that, okay, we have this covered and I have the EMS aware of what's going on and everything in the event. And as the supervisor stated, on that property, we've had a couple of incidences, which makes me always heightened. And obviously, at the beginning of the meeting, you heard about the epidemic of heroin and opiates. And I'm not saying that's what's going to be there. I'm just going about past practices and what's all over the country.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that we're good there. And in the event that we have an issue, that you have Narcan available and all of those types of things, so that everybody is on board. So I'll wait for the recommendation of what the board wants to do, and then obviously a liaison to the board to be at the meeting that I can have put together, which we can do, sometime within the next 30 days, I'm assuming, to go over it, and whoever your representative, if it's you guys or not, that's fine, just to have that. So again, more questions than comments. The comments, or hopefully the answers will take away all the questions.
Is this gonna be for the monthly town meeting, or we can come to you
No,
anytime?
no, we'll set up a meeting besides
Okay.
this.
Harry, did you see Dave Buscemi's comment?
I didn't, I have a meeting with him on Monday at 2 o'clock.
So,
Then on top of-
I'll just, put in my 2 cents. From my perspective, we are a town of festivals and have a strong music festival tradition. And we're, loved for that and love that. And as long as, I feel confident that that it's going to be done safely and to, the code and the standards of both our police chief and our building department, I think it's could be a good thing.
I just have one question for you. Were you guys not invited back to that other property? You decided to move it? Or?
I just decided to, no, they really wanted us back. I decided to just move it to New York because this is my homeland, and doing it out in Georgia was kind of an experiment.
Okay.
And you live upstate, right?
There's-
Or you
I
live in
grew
this
up
area?
in Woodstock, and, not between there and the city all the time, so we basically be attracting a lot of city people. As for the parking, there'll be a lot of people carpooling.
So, do you have
Well,
any,
all you could do to encourage public transportation. Good thing.
have we, ever approved the 3-day festival before?
I have not. I mean, we've had, obviously, the street festival, which is 2 days, but does not have camp.
But we close up and,
Day 3 will be really small,
well, sure.
probably.
It's your downtime too that's a concern, you have a lot of people. They're not gonna stay on the property, and not that we don't mind having people come around, but, if you have people drinking and stuff, then we have to worry about. Typically when we have a festival, people have to stay within a certain area when they're drinking, and, that's all gotta be managed. That's a big issue when you're talking about that with people.
How many festivals have you guys done?
I mean, the first huge one that I did was really just that one, but I've been for 6 years doing this building up, word of mouth festival in Phoenicia. And I've learned a lot from that, and I've been booking shows here and there, South by Southwest, Texas, and New York City since I was in my early 20s.
Right. And if we can keep this at 1,000 or under, it's a small event. It really is. We're well aware of that. As long as we have the right things that match what we require for the safety of everything. I don't have any concerns as long as that's done. Again, but they have to meet all of the things that we need as emergency and for the safety of the community. So I'll look forward to meeting with you. And as soon as I get direction from the board, then I'll let you know. And I have all your contact information. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
I'm not, I don't think that we can vote anything tonight.
No, I
would
don't,
say
I
that-
wouldn't recommend that you're approving anything.
No, we're not gonna prove anything, but what I would say is if they really, wanna get all their ducks in a row, you should be making those appointments with, fire marshal, police chief, and see if, they're gonna approve the things that you document and come back up with, because, our decision will weigh heavily on their recommendations.
So we'll get together the 17 points on the list.
You also, that's just the fire marshal. You
Yeah.
also have to go to, like I said, the police chief, you have to go to the fire department, which is Tilson Fire Department. To see
I
if they-
can arrange
you
the
wanna
majority of those meetings,
Okay.
just, that's not an issue.
Great.
But just email me, and it's very simple, psoul@rosendalepd.org. But you'll need to, obviously, the health department and all that, which you're well aware what you need to do. And if we want to have a joint meeting where everybody's involved, but I suggest probably you call each person individually, introduce yourself and what your plan is, and then we can get together as a group to go over, because otherwise, 8 people in the room will make for an 8-hour meeting for the first time. So, but
Sure.
again, if you need contact information, I'll certainly help.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yes, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks.
Good night.
All right.
So, do we have to be on next month's meeting? How do we go, how do we
If you have a
move forward?
complete application, it would go on to the meeting, you would let Mandy, our town clerk,
All right,
you're gonna meet with the chief and work out some of those details. And then your application would be more complete. You would go back to her with any updates to your plan.
all right.
Changes to your plan so that it fits the, if you go on our website, there's the code for the mass gathering. Actually, I can give you a copy of it.
Also, if you want to see, it's a different kind of festival, so you'll be doing different kinds of things, but if you want to see like the Street Fest, site.
Yeah.
I've been there, yeah.
No, the site plan.
the site plan.
So you can see
Yeah.
what's been approved.
Is that available?
I don't think that the street festival site plan is appropriate. We're talking about some things that are different.
Would it be helpful at all to shortcut
I
that
would think that
process?
they should be talking to the Larsons who have had to deal with that site, and they've done site
Well, we
plans.
did get the
over-
Beltane plans, and,
Right,
Here's a
pretty much
mass
site.
gathering code. Here's the code for it.
But technically, we're not a mass gathering.
Yes, you are.
Under 1,000.
Under 1,000.
If you
Right.
put
I
your,
mean, I'll
your
lower it to whatever
application,
you think I should to be under a mass
we're
gathering.
gonna still ask you to
Okay.
follow this
Streamline.
code because you don't, you're bringing in more people than is easily managed on a, so I think you need to go through these steps.
But again,
You're gonna
this
go
is-
through these steps no matter what, because you're
Well,
gonna meet with the chief.
if we're defined as a mass gathering or not, that's a big deal.
Right.
because Are we making money or are we losing money? Are we gonna pay an engineer to do some sort of site plan that
We
is
don't need an
irrelevant?
engineer.
No,
Site
it's not that
plan.
kind of
We
thing.
don't
We
All right.
need more of a drawing.
I just feel like we should just define.
We never expect you to hire a professional to do a site plan.
Well, we should just define what the mass gathering is. If we don't have to meet that requirement,
You still have to do a site plan, no matter what.
okay, a site plan.
So either way, you're gonna do a site plan. We've always, anybody has an event, we ask for a site plan.
Sure.
So anything that if people are charging money or having, the general public is attending it, even if it's not 1,000 people, we still ask for a site plan.
But that's
All
not
right.
something that needs to be engineered. That's-
Yeah.
Right,
that's to be
but
drawn.
beyond the site plan, I know that now.
Right.
The mass gathering permit with free water and like many of these other things that are not relevant to our event, can we just define right now, it's 1,000 people or more as a mass gathering?
It's 1,000
That's-
people or more,
All right.
that's
That's
the
the
law.
rule, yeah.
That's the law.
Okay.
But, you may talk to our fire department and some of these others, and they're gonna say, you still have to provide this, or you still have to
Sure,
provide that.
sure.
And it might be very similar to what's in our mass gathering, okay? Because, we're gonna make sure that whatever, if somebody had an emergency or whatever, that you still have a way to take care of people.
Sure.
I'm interested, did you get a sense from the Larson Farm or any folks there that the place could handle 1,000?
They seem to think like the cap would be 1,000 for the
I
property.
thought they said they've had a few thousand there.
Uh-huh.
Well, there you go, that's why we like to have a mass gathering permit, because they'll tell us it's not 1,000, and then there's 2,000 people there, so, we have.
It's been bigger.
I think in the past, Beltane festivals have been, they didn't used to come with site plans.
Right.
Yeah.
it was-
And
it was-
they have really big events, and it's just been
I-
scaled down
I-
every
Still
year.
I've
go
been
on the
about
ticket
six-
sales website, and say this is the amount of tickets I'm
Right,
gonna sell.
right, no, that's, I control
And,
advance it.
you know,
Yeah.
You still
Okay,
have to show parking for X number of cars, I don't know
Sure.
the formula, whatever the formula is for how many people.
on my map, I had the arrows pointing to that whole area.
Yeah,
out the
it's
way.
gotta be more detailed than that, a little bit more detailed than that, than just pointing an arrow to a map. I think you have to show, this is our first aid station, this is our security station.
well, we had all that on our plan. It's all on our,
But your plan is not very legible, it needs to be better, a little bit better than that. It's-
Well, you might turn into something color, but that's what we got. And we're not talking about, it's closer to this than an engineer drawing.
I mean,
is
how
what we're
can I
asking
tell
for.
what that is?
But it's not.
I don't know what that is, I can't tell what you're
It's more
pointing
detail,
to.
but this is what all of the festivals that happen in our town do. I understand that you're under some constraints if you're trying to book 20-some bands a day for 3 days.
well, not even,
But
it's
on-
actually
on
like 20 in
20
total.
bands altogether.
20 bands, okay, sorry.
So the
But on
biggest,
our side, the town has plenty of time to work out what we need from
Okay.
It seems like you're under some pressure on your side.
Yeah, we
We're
need
not
to move
placing
forward with
that.
the Larsons and booking bands. I think at this point, we're gonna do that.
So I think
And
talk
we'll
with
address-
the Larsons about parking. It's like really hard to tell from, just this little arrow in this field, like what the property can
Yeah.
accommodate.
They didn't
Right.
have enough parking for their Beltane festival, which is a lot less people.
And it's off-site.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the significant.
They're estimated 400 to 600 people, and they were talking about having an off-site parking because they don't have enough parking for 400 to 600 people. So that can, you're talking about almost double.
It changes dramatically. What they do have changes based on how wet it's been. If it's dry, they have parking. If it's been raining, they have swamp.
Yeah, for many reasons, we moved it to early September, and typically
Right.
August is pretty dry.
I mean, you can see, I'm looking at their stuff here, and if you look, it's category by category, the mission, program. There's the whole section on sanitation, staffing, whole section on safety and security, prohibited items, evacuation procedure, traffic control, where their parking is, the shuttle buses, food vendors. So here's the same site, and this is their pictures. They're a lot more legible, even though they're not as good as could be better, but it's still like this. You can see, okay, you're looking
Did
at
they
the
give you
site.
this packet?
So the site plan has dual purpose of, informing us of everything that's going on, and it also kind of displays that you thought it out really thoroughly.
Yeah, like here's an example, which this, in an example, like you said about the street festival site plan, here's a diagram, that kind of identifies where everything's gonna be, so that, if the police or the emergency vehicles had to come, if an ambulance had to come, they would know, everything's on file.
Right.
Because you're gonna be talking to the people that do emergency services too, so they'll have an idea.
So
They'll have the maps.
At this
Any
point,
emergency services?
what is the course of action that Springtown Road has?
No.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
reading something from the planning board, and Billy, who's done, he usually does the site plan, somebody
For
that,
the street festival.
for the street festival. And they typically have no pets because of insurance issues, so,
For street fest, yeah.
Right, but as Billy pointed out, you can't have no pets. You have to allow for service dogs, so. He insisted on that.
I understand.
And we did also list that it's 21 and over,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there will be sort of IDs checked at the perimeter, and
Yeah, but like Carrie said, there's always a few that slip through. How are you going to, like, he wants to know, how are you gonna make sure, is people gonna get ID'd, or?
well, yeah, they're gonna get ID'd, outside the event. I suppose we're gonna have to ID at the beer tent as well.
So that's the kind of thing that he'd want to see in writing, about how you're going to do that when you meet with him, you go over that. Is there going to be handicap parking, which you probably need to do. You're going to have to contact Tilson Fire Department, which I said, Mobile Life Support, which is our local ambulance service. You need an additional insured for the town, which I think you did mention in there. But in addition to that, that's why we like to make sure all those things, because if we approve something and something happens, then we have a
Sure.
liability issue. So those are, I think, we have an idea of what we're looking for. I think Chief Soul can guide you through it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to meet you too. Thank you.
Could I ask what date that's?
Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend?
I know they said that they, that's advertising, but, your advertising is attracting people that want to party hardy and,
Yeah.
Yeah. And
debauchery and after-use of front of the green room, trashers, onstage fistfights,
I read it.
having their stalkers. I mean,
here, my thing is when he came in, you know, they weren't easy people. So.
Which came in? Both of them?
Those two.
Oh, okay.
You know, the first time they came in, I gave him the requirements. The second time they came in, gave me the Beltane site plan. And, you know, he was kind of pushy about it. And, you know, I explained to him, and I told him I didn't know that he was gonna go look up the code to know what mass gathering was. And I remember I went through it with Eric, and we looked, and it was 1,000. So, and the other thing is, you know, I gave him those comments, and he said he just reviewed them.
Oh, that's the
He
same.
didn't, because he responded to the email the day I sent it.
Okay.
So he's had them to review them and start working on it. So, I don't know, it concerns me.
Yeah, you're not getting a straight answer.
No, and the I don't know what the skinnier guy's name was, but he's very pushy.
Well, I have a concern about a 3-day festival during Labor Day weekend. We already have a nice influx of people that come up to visit the area, and just the enormous amount of cars that could end up flooding Springtown Road. So, because unless,
Springtown Road has always complained, people on
Yes.
there have always complained about
And
that.
it's really
That's why
mindful.
we encourage them to have off-site parking, because they never
And
get.
once if people are coming from the city, take the bus.
yeah,
That
well,
sounds
that's what
like
he was
that's
saying.
sort of built into their plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be the
But
best.
to encourage people in advertising to use public transportation.
Yeah, take them.
Yeah, well, the other time there was busloads of people coming, I'm not gonna say where, but, you know, when they went back, people had, you know, OD'd and all this stuff, and they were, you know, came back to that site, you know. It's a concern, I think, you know. I'm all for the festivals, we've had lots of festivals, I ran the festival, for Street Festival for 4 years, I'm not against festivals, but I am against people, inviting people to come to our community because they wanna party hardy and not, they're not there to enjoy music and each other's company, they're there to, you know, have a debauchery, you know, that's the kind of comments in here, that's very serious.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you guys can, you know, say that, you know, I'm not holding their hand for this. I feel very
Well, they
concerned
have-
about the kind of party this is gonna be.
Mhm.
And I think, you know, we should be taking a very close look. And to just say that, you know, they just have to, just dotting their i's and crossing their t's is not enough if you're out there advertising that you wanna have a party that is, you know,
And invite-
attracting people to do things that are, you wouldn't invite your own children, you wouldn't let your kids go to it, you wouldn't want your friends and family there, so why would we approve that?
Friends and family, maybe I would have there. I don't know about kids.
You got,
No,
at least
no
if your
change.
daughters are 21, you gonna let them go to that party?
Probably not.
Thank you.
Right? But if they're 21, I can't stop them. from going
No,
there.
but you wouldn't want them there.
Right, but at least.
And they're
it is-
less likely to go there if it's not in your town.
Well, at least it is 21 and over, we know that she,
But
It's a
how,
fine
if
line.
someone
Has-
buys a ticket online, like they're selling, how are they gonna filter who's 21?
that is true. You can't filter that online, but, and I have confidence in our police chief that he will be very thorough in going over the exact
Well-
logistics
Yeah, but-
of how they're going to, 14 people, I think, you have 1,000 people coming, you only have 14 security guards. There's no way you're going to be able to accurately assess who's coming in. So I have a feeling that through discussion, 14 is not going to be enough. And he was asking for certification and evidence of hours. You know, I like that. It's not minimum
Right.
requirements. It's sort of asking, we need to really see very, very transparently
Yeah.
how they're going to do this. And maybe they cannot fulfill that in such a short period of time, and it's April right now. So, I don't know.
Right, I mean, that seems to be our first position is, well, fully meet all these first, and then we'll talk. I mean, no matter what we
It could
do,
be good practice.
they have to do that.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, but I mean, they're looking for a guarantee because they don't want to put the tickets out there until, you know.
We didn't
Right,
give
but
a guarantee.
No, I know.
they haven't prepared adequately to have a conditional, you know, it's not.
No, there's no question of that.
I mean,
But
it's April and they're
But, you know,
planning
they're
summer
trying
festival.
to, I didn't like that they're trying to minimize what's online. I mean, if you don't want that to be the message about
Right.
your event, then don't put it on your websites,
Right,
you know?
everybody
If
can
that's
tell.
if that's the type of party you're having, I'm not gonna say yes, because I don't think that that's what we want in our community.
Well, it is difficult. I think Chris, or Councilman Kozlowski.
You know, if they wanted to talk about
Chris,
morals, I
Chris
don't.
answered that really well. It's
He
like,
did.
Because he was saying, oh, well, you know, is this a moral board? And it's like, no, we have to be concerned about the welfare of the community. We're not a private, like Hunter Mountain is for-profit,
Right,
and all the liability goes on whoever is hosting the event, and they're just, it's like a rental space.
Because
Where
it's
for us.
public property.
It isn't, but
No, but
because
we're-
they have to do a site plan, you don't have to do a
Public
site
property.
plan. If it's a festival
Well,
space,
they
and
have,
you
they
always
have
have
zoning
concerts
for
like
those
that.
events.
Right,
We
and
don't
that's
have
already
zoning for that.
part of it. There's a little bit, the fine
the site plan.
details are.
Yes, Jill?
You're talking about 3 days, you're talking decorative, weekends, hot, providing water.
Yeah, they wanna minimize, so if you have 500 people, you're not gonna have water for them? What does that mean? You know,
Yeah,
that
that's-
concerns
what
me.
happens if it
They're trying to
rains?
cheap out.
During a thunderstorm during it.
Right.
What happened up in Celebrities a couple of years ago?
Yeah, everyone's outside.
Yeah.
That mud
Yeah, there
fest,
But,
right,
but,
wasn't that like an enormous mud fest or something?
Yeah.
but all of these concerns
Days
are,
going out
well,
days later.
the majority of these concerns are covered under the procedure that we have in
People didn't know
place.
where to go.
So,
There's the-
Right.
Yeah, but they're
The
trying to
meetings.
say that we don't have to file the mass gathering permit. But, you know, I mean, we still need a site plan no matter what. And
Yeah.
To me, you know, it's still a mass gathering if you're inviting the public to buy a ticket. But, you know, maybe you need to change that code so it's a little bit clearer that any gathering that sells tickets could be potentially 1,000 people. That's the way I look at it.
person threshold for certain aspects.
Probably for certain components of the site.
That's for our
plan,
own
right?
site,
For
that's for
fire.
site plans, that's not for mass gathering, that's just for
Okay.
site plans. It's 200 people, if anybody has a site, subject in the site plan, if they're selling tickets and they have an event,
Right, okay.
unless you're having like your own private wedding or party or something, but, you know.
There have been other festivals like this that came to Casco's, but they were going to old resorts. Altamara's Parties was here a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, there's no accommodations here.
Right.
There's places
Well,
that
and
come-
these resorts, I think, were camping as well, but the point was they had a campus with an infrastructure,
Right.
a lot more built up than the
Well,
Colony.
You know, as far as the moral issue, you know, I don't know that I wouldn't say that it's a moral issue to be concerned that there could be drugs and alcohol that is abused. You know, to me, that's just about
Public
safety.
safety,
That's
yeah.
public safety, so I think, you know, that is the issue. And
Mhm.
we've had a bad experience over there.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
we were very close 4 years ago to telling them at Morrison's, no more events.
Right.
Okay?
So,
And their response to us, that they were coming back, and they would no longer rent it out to people that were gonna do the, you know, events that they couldn't be careful about, you know, drugs and alcohol. They would only do their own events, you know, and they came
Right.
back with a much more trimmed down, scaled down events for Beltane, and this feels to me very similar
Like it's
to what
going
happened,
very much.
happened to the last time, where they ended up with an event that got out of hand, and guess what? They're on vacation and nobody's there to monitor them.
so,
They're
right.
going on vacation again. They're not gonna
Oh,
be on the
right, right.
site.
So I'm curious about what is, I need to know what the power of this board is in that aspect.
I'm
I
very
mean,
curious about that too.
Well,
you know, if they do everything according to, you know, the powers as defined that we have under that site plan review, and they,
well, at this
then
point,
this is like, this is a,
Right.
you know, somewhat squishy.
yeah,
they do define.
I think you're right, if all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed, but I mean, I think, like, Stacy said, you know, Chief Soul is gonna say, this has to be done,
Right,
and can you
right.
accommodate for this, and they're gonna evaluate whether they can. The other thing is, our police department needs to be able to go on the site and see if
Yes.
things are not okay.
Well, just like
Because they
a-
just said, you
Right.
know, police came for no reason, and, you know, I mean, I'm sorry, but you're gonna
Right.
have an event, the police may decide to come check things out, and that's gonna be
Right.
accepted.
Well, that's all true, but what is the actual, what's our power to, as a board, to judge things that way? Like, what is it?
If you don't
can't
have a
enact-
complete packet, we can say you don't have a complete packet.
Right, we have that, but as far
And
as.
I don't think it's private property,
Right,
and I think that, you know, we are limited in what we can do.
We have a law on the
requirements.
books that says you
Right.
can't have more than 1,000 people without a site plan approval. So if they don't have a approval and they bring 1,000 people, they're in violation and they can be shut down.
Yes.
Right, but
Right,
if,
but
but
if
if
we
they
do
do,
approve,
if they do a
if we-
comprehensive site plan
Yeah.
to the approval of fire, police, emergency, and if we do, I mean, I agree with Jill, I think that they need to be getting water. They have to have a
Absolutely.
portable water tank truck or something.
Yeah.
It's also very green, good PR. But, you know, you have to take care of people, and they can't just walk to a store and get something. So if there's a shortage of water bottles, I've been at events when there's shortage of water. It's a serious
They're all
problem.
gonna
That's
end
much,
up at my house, I know.
no, but that's much more, I mean, that's a big concern, is that
Absolutely.
I'm concerned about
That was a-
exhaustion. But
No,
if they do all
was
that,
a
we have to
concern
approve it.
was when he was like, he's gonna make it less than 1,000 people so he doesn't have to provide water.
Right.
That was a concern for me.
That is a concern, but, you know.
Well, it's a
but-
health, it's a.
No, he said he was gonna reduce it to 1,000, less than 1,000.
They get
So you didn't have to follow these things
950
like, I wouldn't have to have
No,
water.
I know, no, I'm going back to the previous one, right? It's just like, it's a serious health concern.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, but what John is asking,
well-
we, you
I
know,
think we have no choice but to
we approve it.
approve it
If
if
they-
they follow all the things that are required.
Right,
But then
because-
you're gonna have if we do have a situation where things get out of hand, that means we gotta go back to the table and say, we're gonna outlaw this and we're gonna outlaw that. And you start to make more code that makes it impossible for people to have a good time in this
Sure.
kind of event, you know?
Right,
You know,
I see.
I don't,
You know,
I,
That's a
I,
good point. Right.
yes, no, I don't agree. I think you can't control everything as a town, under every circumstance, you're just not going to. And I think that you do as much as you can, you know, and make it as safe as you can within the law. And you do
But
as
this
much
is
as
the
you
law.
can.
What I'm saying is, if we have events that we can't control and it becomes a public safety issue, then it's our job to change the law so that we have better control
It's
over
pressure
public
to
safety.
anyway,
Yeah.
right.
Well-
It's- I mean, it would be a consideration.
Well, right, but that's
But-
difficult too, because if next year a different group came and wanted to do something, or if we had an event this size and it goes well, then
Yeah, but
that,
I'm
You
not
can-
saying you stop them from having it, you just have more controls in place, like, you know.
That's what
Well, we
happens.
could,
That's
we
what
could
happens.
More regulations in
revisit
place.
what that is. My only point is, you know, if you have somebody violate, you know, a site plan approval,
Mhm.
you know, you don't then go rewrite the site plan law.
That's not what
around
we're
that.
talking about.
That's true.
Well,
You're
I
right.
know, I'm
You're
just
right.
saying that you
No,
just.
that's not,
Is-
that was not the scenario we talked about. The scenario was if
if
they met all the criteria and we approved them, and then there was something happened that wasn't safe and something bad happened, then we'd have to look at, do we have enough controls in place? That's where you would rewrite the code. Not because, you know, maybe it's gonna be that simplest that, you know, our police department gets to patrol the event. That might be what we decide.
Right, but then that, we have to be
well,
legal and consistent. So that, then
Absolutely.
you have to have that at
In a new,
at
it
a
have to
knit-
be a law.
at a knitting festival, then you have. So, in other words,
right, well,
we,
I mean, I run Creative Co-op, and I can only have 40, 45 people in there. And every single time I do an event, you know, I'm friends with Billy. Billy's my insurance guy. I'm always worried something could happen. And there's nothing really going on. It's not as safe as a knitting festival.
But you're not-
But things could happen I mean, you know, I had a little boy that fell, and I had to take care of him with his mom and
Right,
his
that's
whole
the
thing.
difference between an
And,
accident.
you know, but things could happen that are
Right, but-
extraordinarily unpredictable, like someone.
You have to be careful not to
Right.
blame bad behavior on the law.
Right,
And-
right.
And that's my only point, you
Yeah.
know,
I think-
because you just cannot, you can't look at things, something might not be working, obviously, that's how laws are made, you're all improving on them, but you have to
Right.
be careful about.
Well, and just put more things in place during the event, so it's safer, so
Well,
there's
that's what I,
room for people to walk around.
right,
Right.
but we can't enforce that unless you make it part of the law. If you say that if you have, like, let's say this says 1,000 people, and now, you know, they come back and say, well, we don't have to follow the mass gathering law because we only have 600 people. And now we can't enforce those things we put in place. Do we change the law to be 600 people then? Or do we, you know, what do you do?
I'm not sure.
I think the number, I I think the duration and the number are my biggest concerns. The 3-day festival is,
You
you
got
know,
somebody, you could have
street
somebody,
festival, as an example, we run garbage, you know, at night, each of those days.
right,
Everything's
you
cleaned
clean
up,
up
you
and you
start
start all
over.
over again.
And it's great to have
how
it
do you
down.
know, how do you know that everybody is safe in an environment where you're not cleaning up and putting
Right.
things,
So,
how do you know somebody's sleeping in a tent and never came out,
You're sort of
Dennis has been really
Right.
great.
Yes, Dennis,
Oh,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
The duration is too much.
But-
I mean, even the street festival, which is 2 days, I can't tell you how many people complain. And obviously, it's in a lot better control than it was at one time some years ago.
Right.
Anytime you move past a day, you're looking for trouble.
Yeah.
And I can tell you from knowing people in this town, not people like me, I don't care about this that much, but I can tell you from people who've been in this town for many years, many people who've lived here, they don't like this stuff. And they're just looking for something that really goes beyond what you normally do.
Something goes bad.
People will accept one day control, and the street festival has gotten better control. You're going, for somebody you don't know, you're really taking a chance.
I think
3 days
that, I
is
think the
really-
concern I have is the advertising of what they
really
want
a
to do at
problem.
these parties. It's
Yeah.
not about just music.
Well,
Well, I would
it is
like-
an intoxication event. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, they put that
Yes.
right out there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
we-
a
But
concern.
I would like to take it back to pragmatic logistics. If it's just those two gentlemen planning the whole entire thing,
Well, that's not unusual.
that's sort of a problem for me, because, well, you planned Street Fest for 4 years, I only had involved with Street Fest for 2 years, and it's like more than a dozen people that are in charge of different strategic points of logistics, and there is no overnight.
Right.
But there is, a real careful attention to making sure that everything is safe and cleaned up. But then there's all the safety with the beer gardens, there's all the safety with the trash, there's water for all volunteers constantly that they don't pay for. So it's a ton of work, and I really will go back to my original comment and say, I feel confident that our chief of police and our fire department will scrutinize it, make sure that
They will
everything is
scrutinize
really,
it,
really
but
careful.
if it's advertised as a place to come to get intoxicated and party, and it's not being advertised as a place to come to listen to music and to, enjoy the countryside. It's being advertised to come and party as hard as you can.
Right.
And that is a
It's
serious
known as an
concern.
Imbibe Fest.
Yeah.
And my,
Imbibe Fest.
Yeah, so they're trying to make light of that. I'm
What's that?
sorry, I'm not gonna
Right,
prove
but
it. I'm
it's-
not
then it is on
comfortable with that.
private property too.
the other concern I wanted to point to was, which I believe you brought up to you already, is it's venue. I mean, what I myself would say, not you, is that there are appropriate venues for it. I'm not sure if this is one. And so again, it's more about procedure and
Well, I have
venue
to,
and.
I also have to take it back to the other issue is Beltane is an event run by the people that live there and own the property. All right, they're having an event. Do they have the authority? They don't have the, are they zoned, do they have a site plan and, a special use permit to rent out their property for this kind of event?
It's a really
So-
good point.
Oh,
So, we're starting to talk
that is
about,
very interesting.
that's a whole nother issue about whether that's even appropriate, because you're talking about something that hasn't really been through the kind of scrutiny where you'd say, this is a property for events, this is how many people are allowed at this event, this is where we keep the, this is
Right.
where the first aid goes, this is where this goes, and then you have a site plan that is approved by the planning board, and the zoning board looks at whether it's zoned for that, and then because I think this is going beyond what the Beltane is where they're holding an event of their own,
Right.
And now we're talking about something where they rent out, and we've already had this conversation with them. That's why I was disappointed that they're not here, that, you guys are overstepping of what you're allowed to do in this property. What's the limits? I don't know, I think we have to go back and look at whatever was approved for that property too. Because I think this is beyond, to me.
Well,
And it's gonna be a habit now, every month they're gonna have another event here, they rent out the property. And they should have a,
well, I have
if it
two
becomes
things.
a venue, then it should be approved as a venue.
Right. So I'm happy to move on. what
All right,
anybody,
I'm
but I
sorry.
just wanted to say two things I'm gonna do in the meantime. One is to look up that aspect of, offering as a rental venue, and number two, to look up the board's power on
Yes.
judging a thing morally, like if they do comply and fully meet the rules.
Well,
We're
at
we're
this
not allowed
point-
to
at this
disprove
point,
it unless I find reason
Technically,
that we
at
can.
this point, we could vote to deny it because it's not incomplete. Is it incomplete?
Ah, right.
It's
We
incomplete,
could vote to deny just on one submission?
just the fact that it's not
But they
complete.
could-
They could
they
come
don't
back
have
and
to- right,
resubmit it,
right.
but I'm just saying, we have the authority to
Sure,
deny it
that's true.
because it's not a complete application.
Right.
That's the ground on which it's still not.
Right,
What's that?
right, because it's incomplete.
Yeah.
Well, it's an incomplete or it's not, it doesn't meet.
It's
Well,
incomplete.
right now it's incomplete.
Doesn't have
But
any
with
of the
everyone
answers
else-
to the questions that are asked even in the application, they just put like to be announced or something, that's not it, that's not the answer.
So it's,
All right, Mandy, how are we with Beltane?
We're good.
I know
Moving
by
on.
contrast that
Next.
Bob Gallagher's comments say it's the best site plan he's ever seen them.
It is thorough.
Oh,
It's
It's
much
good.
better. I was just noticing.
Well, that young
And I
woman,
really
Well, you
don't
have a new
think
person
that
to
what is the
work
name of the young woman?
Who's working with
What's
her?
that? She said she's not planning on at all to use George Harris's park.
And who's the young woman that's working for them now?
I don't
The one that we met.
Yeah,
right?
she's
Yeah.
lovely.
know. She's the one I only know when I hit her name in the search bar.
Maria Scarganegella.
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
she's taking it very seriously.
So
I think we don't have.
everything has been reviewed by everybody that need to be reviewed by, right?
Yeah.
Andy?
Yes.
Well, the only thing is, I didn't get anything ready from Tilson, but I never do.
So we can do a conditional,
Might be a phone call.
a conditional that we need to know that they've somehow informed the fire department of the event.
Oh, Stephen,
Because they told me they were just gonna drive there.
to go find
Talk to
Steve.
somebody, but,
Okay.
they were supposed to be here tonight.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the Beltane Festival, on the condition that they, inform the fire department in Tilson, and I think Billy made a good point about the, mobile light, that they should know that they're having an event too.
I'll second that.
Should I add that? Seeing onto like my.
Your documents, yeah, from now on, I think that's a good idea. It's either Mobile Life if they're in the area that Mobile Life covers, and then we have the, town, rescue squad as part of, as Tilson High Falls, right? And, I mean, not Tilson High Falls and Cottington area. All right.
I second it.
Roll vote, Councilman Hughes?
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger?
Yes.
Councilman Kozlowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarty?
Yes.
Supervisor Wall?
Yes.
Thank you, Mandy.
Mandy, do you remember what number we're on?
7.
Weird, reject. Purchase of the 2015 Dodge 444, how do you say that? 4,500 one-ton dump truck for highway department. Whereas the town of Rosendale Highway Department is looking to purchase a new 2015 Dodge 4500 one-ton dump truck to replace the 2008 Ford F550 dump truck, which has been blown engine and will be costly to repair. Whereas the town highway superintendent Robert Gallagher has submitted a vehicle proposal from Robert Green Truck Division, Route 17 East, Exit 107, P.O. Box, blah, 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 Rock Hill, New York, which has been attached here to the main park hero. Whereas said truck will be purchased under award number 22746, New York State OGS for contract PC 66589, Class 4-5 truck, switch and go truck equipment. And where said truck is more comparable vehicle to a direct replacement of Ford, purchase at price of $54,515.35, which would include snowplow, And whereas the Highway Superintendent Robert Gallagher has recommended that said quote be accepted $25,000 to come out of capital equipment line, and the remainder to come out of unexpended funds from 2015. Now therefore be resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Rosendale hereby accepts the aforementioned quote and authorizes the purchase of said equipment for the aforementioned vendor. Be it further resolved that the cost of hereof the said equipment and remaining costs is authorized expenditure from the Rosendale Highway Department annual capital equipment line and unexpended funds.
I think.
Roll call, Councilman Hughes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger.
Yes.
Councilman Slapsky,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarty,
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes. And, our highway superintendent had looked at buying a replacement truck, but instead he's gonna get a dump body. Thought that was a better deal. And, it's resolution 4/2016-8, purchase of a new dump body for highway department truck, whereas the town of Rosendale Highway Department has the need to replace the body on 2006 Ford F-550 due to the condition of the old body and to also enhance the truck for future sale. And whereas the highway department has obtained 3 bids on a new dump body from Iroquois Manufacturing Company, T&T Body King, Hudson River Truck and Trailer, which have been attached and made a part hereof. And whereas the highway superintendent, Robert Gallagher, has researched the 3 bids received and makes the recommendation to purchase the dump body from the Hudson River Truck and Trailer at a cost of $5,995. And whereas the dump body will be installed in-house by our highway department mechanic, and payment will be taken out of the highway capital equipment account. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Rosendale hereby authorize the town of Rosendale highway superintendent to purchase said dump body from the recommended vendor.
Second.
Roll call, Councilman Hughes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Slapsky,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarty,
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes. So Highway has been informed that they are going to get $18,046.04 more from CHIPS for road repair. And we need to do a budget amendment to include that extra dollar amount. So this is for 2016-9.
Yes.
And be resolved that the town board of the town of Rosendale hereby authorize the following budget amendment. Add to DA 3501 ships $18,046.04, and DA 5112.2 capital outlay $18,046.04.
Second that.
Roll call, Councilman Hughes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Slapsky,
Yes.
Councilman McCarty,
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes. So we finally have everything ready for the Bloomington Fire Department to go forward with their creation of a new district. And the resolution, in order to make that happen, is before us. For 2016-10.
Okay.
Approving the establishment and operation of a new fire district encompassing the whole of the existing Bloomington Fire Protection District in the town of Rosendale, and by companion and concurrent resolutions of the town of Ulster, extending the new fire district into the town of Ulster to include the whole of the Eddyville Fire Protection District in the town of Ulster, provided as follows. Whereas the town board of the town of Rosendale, following a joint public hearing with the town board of the town of Ulster held on October 26, 2015, regarding the establishment of a fire district encompassing the entirety of the Bloomington Fire Protection District in the town of Rosendale, and extending to the town of Ulster to include the entirety of the Eddyville Fire Protection District in the town of Ulster, hereby adopts the following resolutions. Be resolved that the proposed fire district shall be named and herein after be referred to as the Bloomington Fire District. And be it further resolved that this requisite joint public hearing was duly held on October 26, 2015, in conjunction with the town board of the town of Ulster. And be it further resolved that the town board has complied with the provisions of the State Environmental Quality Review Act and determined that this is a type 2 action pursuant to seeker requiring no further environmental review. Be it further resolved, the town board of the town of Rosendale has determined that all of the property and owners of property in the proposed Bloomington Fire District are benefited by the establishment of the fire district. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Rosendale has determined that all of the benefited property or property owners are located within the proposed, did I say that one right? Bloomington Fire District of public interest. Be it further resolved that the establishment of the Bloomington Fire District is hereby approved and for the town of Rosendale by the town board of the town of Rosendale, subject to permissive referendum as provided by law and more particularly set forth below. Be it further resolved that the effective date for the establishment of the Bloomington Fire District and the appointment of fire district officers is June 1st, 2016. Be it further resolved that the boundaries of the Bloomington Fire District shall be as set forth in the Schedule A and be it further resolved that the establishment of the Bloomington Fire District is hereby approved, and upon the Bloomington Fire District being so established, the town of Rosendale will commence proceedings to effect the dissolution of the Bloomington Fire Protection District as provided by law. Be it further resolved that the establishment of the Bloomington Fire District approved herein will result in transfer of the town of Ulster and the town of Rosendale sponsorship and administration of the Eddyville Fire Protection District and the Bloomington Fire Protection District's Length of Service Award Plan, LoSAP, to the Bloomington Fire District. And that the transfer of the LoSAP concurrent with the establishment of the Bloomington Fire District is subject to permissive referendum as provided by law. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Rosendale authorizes the transfer of the sponsorship and corpus of the assets of the Bloomington Fire Department, Bloomington Fire Protection District, LoSAP, to the Board of Fire Commissioners of the Bloomington Fire District, together with all fiduciary responsibilities associated therewith, including but not limited to control of all LoSAP program assets heretofore accumulated, and further authorize the execution of such documents as may be necessary to effect such transfer of the LoSAP program to Bloomington Fire District. Be it further resolved that the said Bloomington Fire District shall be governed by a board of 5 commissioners comprising 5 residents of Bloomington Fire District. Be it further resolved the said fire district shall have a resident of Bloomington Fire District serve as treasurer. And be it further resolved that said commissioners and treasurers shall be elected in the manner described in town law, Article 11, and that the initial appointments of the commissioners and the treasurers provided for in the town law, 174-1, shall be made by consensus appointments of the town boards of the town of Rosendale and town board of the town of Ulster. Be it further resolved that in conjunction with the companion resolution enacted by the town board of the town of Ulster, town of Ulster and the town of Rosendale agree that the initial board of fire commissioners of Bloomington Fire District shall be comprised of the following individuals shall serve by virtue of their appointments effective June 1st, 2016 until December 31st, 2016. Number 1, Kevin Keller, 1224 Creek Locks Road, Apartment 1, Bloomington, New York, 12411. Mary Lou Fugazi, 60 Main Street, Bloomington, New York, 12411. Rachel Shabbat, 2982 Route 32, Kingston, New York, 12401. Michael Hines, 1041 Cape Fox Road, Rosendale, New York, 12472. And David Massimi, 48 Greenkill Road, Bloomington, New York, 12411. Be it further resolved that in conjunction with the companion resolution enacted by the town board of the town of Ulster, the town of Ulster, the town of Rosendale appoint the following individual who is a resident of the Bloomington Fire District as the initial treasurer of the Bloomington Fire District to serve by virtue of her appointment effective June 1st, 2016 until December 31st, 2016. Linda Navarro, P.O. Box 507, Rosendale, New York, 12472. Be it further resolved that the town clerk of the town of Rosendale shall immediately notify the appointees of the offices of fire commission and treasurer of their appointments, and such notification will occur within 10 days of the appointment of said officers. Be it further resolved that the town clerk of the town of Rosendale is directed to notify each of the appointees to the office of fire commissioner and treasurer that the board of fire commissioners shall conduct its first organizational meeting on Wednesday, June 1st, 2016 at 7 p.m. at the Bloomington Fire Station, 14 Taylor Street, Bloomington, New York, 12411, which date is within 10 days of the foregoing appointments. And be it further resolved that the provisions of town law 173.2 pertaining to the acquisition of real property or easement shall not apply. Be it further resolved that the town clerk of the town of Rosendale is authorized and directed to publish a copy of these resolutions within 10 days after their adoption in the Kingston Freeman newspaper having general circulation of the town of Rosendale and Bloomington Fire District, and further post or publicize these resolutions in the same manner as provided for notice of a special election with such additional notices stating that the date of the adoption of these resolutions, the entire resolutions, or an abstract of such resolutions, concisely stating the purpose and effect thereof, as may be required, and stating that such resolution is subject to a permissive referendum. Be further resolved that the town clerk of the town of Rosendale is authorized and directed to file a certified copy of these resolutions establishing the Bloomington Fire District with the Office of the State Comptroller, Department of Audit and Control in Albany, New York. Within 10 days after their adoption, shall cause to be recorded a certified copy of these resolutions, establish the Bloomington Fire District with the Ulster County Clerk, and then when such resolutions are so recorded, they shall be presumptive evidence of the regulatory and validity of the creation and establishment of Bloomington Fire District and of the acts of the town board related thereto.
I second that. Nicely done.
Mouthful.
I liked everything we got for last week.
It's like, oh, Mandy's not going to be happy with this.
Roll vote, Councilman Hughes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Krasowski,
Yes.
Councilwoman LaParty,
Yes.
Supervisor Wall.
Yes.
Wow, that's a complex matter.
Some water?
Good thing. Very good thing.
So, yeah.
Congratulations, Bloomington Fire District. Okay, so we did the resolution for the cameras last week. We're going to do an amended resolution because we didn't have seeker in here. Even though there's no seeker to type 2, because of the funding, we need to have something that says that on a document so we can show it to them.
A neg deck, right?
Not a neg deck, it's type 2.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So type
Right.
1 is where you do.
Right, I'm
okay.
sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Read 11.
Yep.
Yeah. 4/26/11, amendment authorizing installation and contract for security cameras at the Ronnet Municipal Center. Whereas the Ronnet Municipal Center located at 1915 Lucas Avenue. Actually, I'm not going to read it all because we already know it. Let's just point out that we're going to amend the last, it'll be a further resolve that the town board of the town of Rosendale has complied with the provisions of the State Environmental Quality Review Act and determined that this is a type 2 action pursuant to SECRE, requiring no further environmental review.
A second.
Roll call,
I read it
Councilman
last
Hughes,
time.
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Krasowski,
Yes.
Councilwoman LaParty,
Yes.
Supervisor Wall.
Yes. And that's going to happen very soon, too. All right. And then the next thing is air conditioning. Resolution 4/2016-12.
Yeah. Yeah, but we haven't discussed it, right?
What, air conditioning?
Yes, sir.
We discussed it about 2 years ago.
I know, but I'd like to discuss it again now.
Go ahead.
It's been a while. Just, I know the first time around, it was too expensive, right?
We're gonna be doing something like this.
Okay.
Also, the first time around, we didn't have tenants.
We have
It's
tenants.
just us.
They're gonna be helping to pay for it.
Right. So, and it's,
Jen,
yeah,
we're gonna be amending this next one.
Okay.
We're gonna bring it down quite a bit in cost.
okay.
So a lot of the stuff in this contract is going to change.
This region, you know, when there was no Marble Town, there was no
No
LRC, there was no port.
ARC is going to pay for the B wing, and we're going to pay for the cafeteria work. So that's going to bring down the cost about, like, close to $50,000, because that'll be their cost.
So, and
And we have $125,000 in a grant.
That's what's left, or that's what?
That's what's for air conditioning.
Okay.
And so,
so does Marbletown do a similar resolution first?
I think
For the same?
they're going to do it this month, too.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if they've done it yet.
And then you work together, both municipalities and the
This is part of our shared
That's
service.
the meeting
Right.
for one thing.
And-
Yes.
But
inside.
We have to have our air conditioning meeting.
The contractors come back and identify what
How the value of each.
Yeah, so ARC's section is being evaluated, and they'll pay for that. The rest of the building will share the cost of marble.